I was just fascinated by this idea of including the viewer in the work. I am an extremely tactile person. It's part of the reason I do ceramics. I want to touch things, I want to feel things, I want to see what kind of experience I can gain through my hands with the world. And then, you know, as I was working through my ideas, working through the theme of my show, realizing it was about behavior, realizing it was about the way people acted, the way people felt, the way people thought, Dawn told me about this thing called cute aggression. These are slip cast little creatures, little animal rodent things. They're not any specific animal, I just sort of came up with something that I thought looked cute. It's really interesting stuff, so I decided to go with that. And it's this idea that, you know, you see something really adorable and you want to destroy it. Lenny in Of Mice and Men squeezing the rabbit, it's just so cute. A grandma pinching a baby's cheeks and, like, you know, seeing a cute little child and saying, oh, I just want to eat you up. Like, that's cannibalism, you know? So, like, where does that come from in the human mind? Where does that sense of aggression sort of lie? And is it linked to seeing adorable things? So I wanted to give an opportunity to my viewers to take part in that. And so I made these little creatures that were very sweet and adorable, and I gave people an opportunity to destroy them.
That was so cool.
A lot more people kept them than broke them. But kind of looking at it now, because the gallery was carpeted, I had to work out a different sense of space for the breaking option. I had to build a very separated structure. So I think it felt very clinical. I think it felt a little bit like, a little more uncomfortable than it already is. You know, the idea of coming into a gallery and breaking art is hard for people to get to. So that I think helped it along. But then I think people really just felt very endeared by these. I mean, you know, they like fit in your hand perfectly. People were putting them in their pockets and walking around, sort of like holding them, like, you know, like had it right next to them. And it's funny because they're not nice objects. They are quickly made. It's relatively cheap. They're spray painted. They're not even glazed. They're low fired. They're gonna break at some point, or they're gonna go in a box in your house. Like, people aren't gonna keep these forever. Or maybe they will. I don't really know. Titling my work has been a personal struggle for me. It's hard to put words to something that you create visually. The title, Oh My, came up because I was thinking about like reactions people have when they look at my work. People tend to go, oh my, like that sort of like sweet, oh, it's so cute. But then sometimes they also go, oh my, and it's a tone difference. So for me, it was sort of like a double meaning simply based on tone and the way you said it that suited a lot of things in my work. I think you could go to every piece and say, oh my, in one tone or another, and it would make sense as a reaction. And something I'm interested in is provoking a reaction from a viewer, whether it's emotional or not. I think that, you know, pulling empathy is a big one for me. Like having the viewer feel sorry or feel something towards the piece is important. So I decided to title my exhibit something I wanted the viewer to think. But even if someone goes and sees my work and has a reaction, any reaction besides boredom or apathy, if I can get something other than that, then in my mind I've succeeded, because they're walking away with a thought that they might have not had before. And if it can go even further and they can get to some of the social questions that I'm asking, you know, I had the piece Backstabber. That was about some of my personal relationships. So this piece is actually called Backstabber because if you look at the other side here, it's actually not as pleasant as it might at first appear. That's about people mistreating their friends and acting like it's not a big deal. Sometimes people aren't nice and they do stab you in the back or they talk about you, and then that is just so casual and just part of being a girl, part of being a person. And so that's why I decided to make the blood this like crazy rainbow candy situation. Because it's not a big deal. It's taken so lightly when really it's extremely painful, extremely violent, and just not really necessary. If someone can see that and think like, I've done that to someone in my life, or that is a success, because maybe they're gonna think and maybe they're gonna change their behavior. Maybe they won't, but maybe they will, so. For the most part, that's an artist's goal, is to make people think. It's sort of why we do what we do. We put, you know, a sculpture of a hippo out into the world, not because it's serving a tangible purpose, but because it's going to bring something to someone at some point. So this is Princess Sylvia, and she is a sad hippo girl. And her, when I first decided I wanted to make a hippo, I was thinking about obesity and how it's like this crazy super like bad epidemic that's happening, and it's happening everywhere. And I was thinking about that, and then also thinking about my own personal experience with body image, and then my friends' experiences with body image, and then just the female sex in general's experience with body image, and how, you know, we all know that there's this crazy impact of unrealistic look of females in the media. Like, that's something that's pretty obvious to everyone. There's Photoshop and airbrushing and all these skinny people all over the place, and it's really not that rational. Whether people are thinking along the same lines as me, you know, that piece is about female body image and media and both, you know, all these different aspects of that. But whether it's people getting to that point and then, you know, thinking intellectually and processing things the way that I process things as an artist, I don't think that's going to happen for everyone. But then I was also thinking about the flip side of that, and how there's also a huge media push for fast food, for things that are not healthy for you to eat. There's like a whole kind of idea of like, oh, you're just gonna eat a salad? Like, don't be a prude. Like, it's fun to pig out with your friends and like eat ice cream and eat chips. And like part of being a girl is, you know, binge watching Netflix and like eating all the snacks. And so it was this weird dichotomy of these two pushes from media, from the outside world, telling you what to do. And so I wanted to kind of create a piece that embodied that. And she's, you know, she's pretty, she's dolled up, she has her little tiara on, she has her nails polished, but she's also sad. You know, she's got this like hunch in her shoulders and like this look on her face, and she has this ice cream, and it's sort of like this moment of like, I don't know if I'm gonna eat it or not. I want to, it's good, it tastes good, but should I? Can I? Is it okay? All artists are doing are like thinking in tangible, physical, visual terms, and everybody thinks every day. The fact that I have spent the time and like had the tactile experience to sit down and craft these things from a material like clay, from earth, into fruition, that is also very important. That means something. It's a really strong spiritual relationship for me, the fact that I'm creating. And I want that to be part of my art. It might not connect directly to the meaning, but I made it. I put it out there, and I did it with my hands. And that's important to me personally, so. And you have a little person, or well, not a person, a little animal. It's really fun to do.